Hey guys, I hope you're having a great day. We are 1 week into school where I am, and it has been awesome to have the kids in school and to really be able to see, just remember, I guess, what it's like to have uninterrupted time to devote to work and goals and those kind of things. And it's really nice. When done intentionally, that I can, put time towards work when I'm at work. And then when the kids get home, just be done. Like that part of my life is done. And it's so nice. That's the way I want it to be. That's one of the things that I love to teach is that work-life balance that you don't have to be constantly checking in and constantly looking, constantly feeling like you're undone, but to figure out what needs to get it done, and then move on. And that's been really hard during COVID. And if you have littles, there's different strategies, of course, because they don't exactly go to school for hours. My youngest is now in school for 4 hours a day, which feels just so luxurious to me. But anyway, there are ways to make that happen and to find that balance. What we're going to talk about today is not exactly related to that. And it's kind of an interesting thought, but it was something that I read recently in a book, this book right here called The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. And it's something that I think is super relevant to all of us. And so I wanted to bring it up here and talk about it because I think you'll find that it's really useful to you. So in this book, he talks about something called the upper limit problem. Now, I want you to think about one, okay, I want you to think about just how you are emotionally day to day. You go around along and you're feeling, generally probably within a certain range of moods. And the upper limit problem is when things get beyond the good point, beyond what you're used to. And you start to feel, I don't want to say too good because we're like, what? There's no such thing, right? But you start to feel so good that it feels out of your comfort zone. It feels out of your norm. And you're like, what is this? I don't know what this is. And so you do something to bring yourself back down to the emotions and the levels that you're used to. So, this is a really interesting concept when you think about it. And when you're aware of it, you probably will start to see it in your own life. One of the things he talks about is that we can feel better than we think we can, and we'll talk about ways to get over the upper limit problem. But as I was thinking about this, I thought it kind of makes sense if nature gives us clues. And one of the clues that we have here is our bodies do the same thing, don't they? We have like a set point, like a natural range that our body likes to stay in for weight. We have a natural range that our blood sugar likes to stay in. We have a natural range for our temperature. When those things get too high or too low, it sets off signals in the body, and our body's like, whoa, things aren't good. We need help. And that's what creates disease, right? When we're too high or too low and those things. Well, emotionally, that same thing is happening. And so that's really an interesting concept that in our emotional selves, our subconscious mind is acting a lot like our body to when we get too high or too low is a whole different problem. But when we go out of that comfort zone, out of our norm, it doesn't feel quite right to us. Now, the difference here with the upper limit problem is we want those high highs to feel normal. We want to keep celebrities. We see this all the time, right? They start to have a lot of success or in their sports career or whatever, these people who have done so well. And then they crash and burn in other areas of their life. They go and do some reckless behavior, or they really struggle in personal relationships or something like that. And he's saying those things are a sign of an upper limit problem. They aren't used to feeling that good. They aren't used to being that successful. They aren't used to being that famous. And so it feels a little unnatural. And so they want to do something to bring themselves back down. Now, on a personal scale, for you, for day to day, Do you ever notice some of these behaviors? So, some of the ways that this can show up in your life are worry, criticism and blame, deflecting, squabbling, getting sick or getting hurt, feeling guilt, or feeling self doubt. So, I want you to think about when you're just like things are good. You just had some good news come to you, or you're just with your family and things are good and you start to feel good. What happens in your thoughts? Do you let yourself sit there and just feel good? Or after a little bit of feeling good, do you start to worry? Do you start to pick a fight with someone in your family? Do you start to doubt yourself? Since reading this book, I've noticed myself when I get into these upper limit behaviors, and I'll give you a couple examples to hopefully make this more real to you and to see how you do it yourself. So, one example is I was sitting around the dinner table with my family and things were good. Everyone was happy. People weren't complaining about the dinner. They liked it. It was all good. We're having a good family dinner. And I was feeling good. Like my thoughts, I didn't write them down. I don't know exactly what I was thinking, but I think I was probably thinking, like, this is so great. We're so lucky, you know? And then my thoughts shifted to, they need to get their stuff done. And then I said out loud, like, you guys need to do this and this after you're done eating. And they didn't like that, and that was kind of picking a fight as I knew it would, and it kind of changed the mood of dinner. So instead of letting myself sit and enjoy this family dinner, I upper limited myself. I got to this upper limit and I'm like, "Ooh, let's come back down. Let's get to this level." Subconsciously, because consciously, we don't want that at all. That's not what we want, but subconsciously, we bring ourselves back to that comfort level. Another example, I on my first coaching group that I had done, my first group coaching, it was a 3-month coaching group, and it was going really well, like really well, and I'm feeling so good about it, right? And I was sitting there thinking about, this is going so well. I was about a month into this program and I was thinking, this is going so well. And my next thought was, I should have only done a month long because, I don't know if I can keep this up. I don't know if it can keep being good for the next 2 months. Immediately into worry thoughts, into fear, into self doubt, and just bringing myself down. I see this with other people with worry. Things are fine, their kids are fine, everything's good. And then all of a sudden, bringing themselves back down into this worry and what could happen, even though nothing is going wrong. So it's a really interesting concept. And I think that as you open your eyes to it, you'll see it all around you. So, how do we get over this? And how do we let ourselves feel good? Because that is the goal. How do we get comfortable raising that upper limit so that that upper limit gets higher and higher and higher, and we are just used to feeling good? So, number one, be aware. Notice your thoughts. Notice what happens. On the heels of a good thought, does a bad thought immediately pop up? As you're sitting there with your spouse and feeling like, I just love this guy. Like, I'm so in love. This is so good. Then do you immediately think, ooh, when he left his socks on the floor or whatever, those in love feelings, but those grumpy feelings or bringing you back down? Um, Notice that for you. Notice when you feel good. Notice what those thoughts are and notice what follows. Really powerful to pay attention to that. Um, Secondly, are you allowing yourself to feel good? Do you let yourself just sit in good feelings? Now, we talk a lot about feeling our feelings, right? But probably most of you, like me, have thought, okay, well, that really means like feeling our bad feelings. And there is a place for that, not what we're talking about today. But what about your good feelings? Are you comfortable in your good feelings? Can you sit there with joy, with excitement, with happiness, with hope, with all those things? Can you sit there without bringing yourself back down to that comfort emotion level? So, as you start to notice those patterns, the second thing that you want to do to really shift this and to get over your upper limit problem is to practice feeling good. So, uh, the best way I know to practice feeling good is to be grateful. Feel gratitude, express gratitude, look for gratitude. I talked about this a little bit last week when I was in line for an hour and a half. It might have only been an hour. You know how stories kind of grow as it's been a while? We're going to say it was an hour and a half. I was in line for an hour and a half getting food for my kids. And I sat there and I thought of all the reasons I was grateful to be in this line. And I felt good, much better than you would expect in the heat, in line at an amusement park. See the good in every situation and look for that good. And so when you practice feeling good, whether the situation warrants it or not, you are going to raise your upper limit because you know how to feel good. Um, Gay Hendricks in this book says, let yourself savor natural good feelings. And I wanted to quote that because don't you love that imagery? Savor it, savor the good feeling, not just like, oh, that feels good. And now I'm going to get back to where I was. I'm going to get back to this baseline. No, feel good and savor it. Feel it. Let yourself sit with that good feeling. Let yourself soak it in and feel what that feels like so that that becomes your new normal, so that you are constantly raising your upper limit and you're extending your ability to feel positive feelings. So, again, look for these upper limits. Look for this pattern in your life. And I think that as you catch it, you will be able to dismiss it a lot faster. Let me know if this is something that you resonate with, that you feel like you can see in your own life, and what has stood out to you today. So I appreciate you guys being here. Have a great day. We'll see you later. Bye.